Right now, the New York Yankees are sitting at one of the most important crossroads we've seen in years, because behind the scenes, the front office is quietly exploring moves that could reshape this roster without blowing it up, and the names coming up are not small ones. Freddy Peralta, Luis Robert Jr., and Nico Hoerner are all being discussed around the league, and while no deal is close or guaranteed, the fact that these conversations exist tells us exactly where the Yankees' mindset is heading. This isn't about panic, and it's not about desperation. It's about calculated pressure, timing, and finding the right balance between pitching stability, defensive reliability, and offensive upside as the Yankees look to keep a championship window open. The Yankees are once again at the center of league-wide attention, and this time it's not because of a completed blockbuster, but because of what's quietly brewing behind closed doors. Sources around baseball continue to suggest that the Yankees are doing deep due diligence on several impact players, and the common theme tying all of this together is control, balance, and fit. Freddy Peralta, Luis Robert Jr., and Nico Hoerner are not being mentioned because the Yankees are desperate for headlines. They're being mentioned because each one fills a very specific need on this roster. The Yankees front office has made it clear over the last couple of seasons that they want to avoid short-term patches and instead focus on players who can contribute over multiple years, and that's exactly why these names make sense on paper. Starting with Freddy Peralta, the appeal is obvious. The Yankees are always hunting for pitching, but not just any pitching. They want arms that miss bats, limit damage, and can survive October pressure. Peralta fits that profile better than most starters available via trade discussions. He has swing and miss stuff, a fastball that plays up in big moments, and experience carrying a rotation load. At the same time, the Yankees are fully aware of the risk that comes with giving up prospects for pitching, especially when durability is always a question. That's why any Peralta talks are reportedly exploratory rather than aggressive. The Yankees want to know the cost, understand the medicals, and evaluate how he would slot into the rotation long-term. They're not chasing him blindly, but they're absolutely monitoring the situation closely. On the position player side, Luis Robert Jr. is the type of name that instantly grabs attention, and understandably so. When healthy, he's one of the most dynamic players in the game, offering power, speed, and elite defense in center field. For the Yankees, the appeal goes beyond star power. Robert would address multiple areas at once: outfield athleticism, right-handed power, and lineup balance. However, this is also where the Yankees' caution kicks in. Robert's injury history is not a small footnote. It's a central part of the evaluation. The Yankees have been burned before by betting heavily on upside without enough reliability, and they're clearly trying to learn from that. Any interest in Robert comes with extensive internal debate about availability, long-term health, and the type of prospect package it would take to get a deal done. The Yankees know that trading for a player like Robert is not just a baseball decision, it's a financial and developmental one as well. That's why, at least for now, this remains a high-level discussion rather than an imminent move. Nico Hoerner, on the other hand, represents a very different type of target, and that's what makes this situation so interesting. Hoerner isn't a flashy superstar, but he's exactly the kind of player championship teams rely on. Elite defense, high baseball IQ, contact skills, and versatility across the infield. The Yankees have openly prioritized defense and fundamentals after seasons where mistakes and inconsistency cost them games, and Hoerner fits that philosophy perfectly. Adding a player like him would stabilize the infield, improve run prevention, and allow the Yankees more flexibility with their lineup construction. What makes Hoerner especially intriguing is that he wouldn't require the same level of prospect capital as a Robert-type deal, yet his impact could be felt every single night. The Yankees are clearly weighing whether a quieter, smarter move like this could end up being more valuable over a full season than chasing the biggest name on the board. What ties all of these discussions together is the Yankees' broader strategy. This front office is no longer operating in an all-or-nothing mode where one move is supposed to fix everything. Instead, they're looking at layering improvements. Strengthen the rotation without emptying the farm. Improve athleticism and defense without sacrificing lineup depth. Protect the future while still pushing to win now. That's a difficult balance to strike, especially in a market where other teams know the Yankees can afford to pay and are often tempted to raise the asking price just because of the logo on the jersey. The Yankees are very aware of this dynamic, and that's why patience has become one of their most valuable tools. It's also important to understand what these rumors don't mean. They don't mean a trade is imminent, and they don't mean the Yankees are unhappy with their current roster. What they do mean is that the Yankees are doing exactly what a serious contender should be doing, exploring every possible upgrade path, understanding market conditions, and being ready to move if the right opportunity presents itself. This is especially critical given how competitive the American League has become. Small edges matter more than ever, and one well-timed addition can be the difference between an early playoff exit and a deep October run. Another layer to all of this is how these potential moves would affect the Yankees' internal options. The organization has invested heavily in player development, and there's a clear desire not to block young players unnecessarily. Any trade for a player like Hoerner, Peralta, or Robert would have ripple effects throughout the roster and the minor leagues. The Yankees have to decide not only whether the incoming talent is worth the cost, but also whether it accelerates or complicates their long-term plan. That's why you're seeing such a measured approach instead of headline-chasing behavior. From a fan perspective, it's easy to want immediate action. Yankees fans are used to big moves and big names, and patience can feel frustrating. But the reality is that the most successful teams in today's game often win by making fewer mistakes rather than the loudest splash. The Yankees seem to understand that lesson better now than they did a few years ago. They're asking tougher questions, running deeper analyses, and resisting the urge to act just to satisfy external pressure. As things stand, the most realistic outcome is that these talks continue quietly while the Yankees wait for leverage to shift. Injuries, standings, and financial decisions around the league will all influence whether any of these names become truly available. If the price drops, the Yankees will be ready. If it doesn't, they're prepared to walk away. That alone is a sign of a more disciplined approach. The next few weeks and months will tell us a lot about how serious these conversations become. But one thing is already clear: the Yankees are not standing still. They are actively positioning themselves to strike if the right deal appears, whether that's a rotation upgrade like Peralta, a high-upside star like Robert, or a steady, winning piece type like Hoerner. Each option represents a different path, and the fact that all three are being discussed shows just how wide the Yankees' planning lens has become. This is the kind of moment where championships are quietly built, not with one dramatic announcement, but with careful evaluation, restraint, and timing. And for Yankees fans, that might be the most encouraging update of all.